Chapter 12, Latter-day Miracles. New productions followed one another at the Theater Sarah Bernhardt, among them Francesca de Rimini, by Marion Crawford and Marcel Schwab, Dodette Sappho, and a spectacular French Revolution drama by Paul Hervieux called Théroigne de Méricourt. There was one ghastly mishap in the way of a dreadful adaptation of Werther by Pierre de Courcelles, a second-rate writer of novels and melodramas. In this disaster, Sarah portrayed Goethe's melancholy hero to empty seats for 13 dismal performances. It is best not to dwell on the subject. In 1903 came the last two S's showpiece, La Sorcière, or La Sorcière, a somber drama typical of what Shaw called the claptraps which Sardou contrives for her. Slickly skillful dialogue, unreal characters, preposterous situations, and enthralling theater. The setting was Toledo at the time of the Spanish Inquisition, and Sarah's written-to-measure role was that of Zoraya, a Moorish gypsy accused of sorcery and condemned by the Holy Office to the stake. It offered her a chance to put on what Shaw again called the whole Bernhardian range of sensational effects. Effects so enormously popular and lucrative that, though their production is hardly more of a fine art than lion taming, few women who are able for them can resist the temptation to devote their lives to them. De Max as Cardinal Jimenez, the Grand Inquisitor, was fiendishly magnificent, and La Sorcière had a long run. Not content with playing 8 performances a week, this 59-year-old woman decided to put on some extra matinées classiques. One was of Racine's Andromache, and in this she alternated her roles, playing Andromache one week and Hermione the next, and playing them both superbly. The most imaginatively recreated classic was Racine's seldom seen Esther. The piece had been written in 1684 by order of Madame Maintenon. Racine, who, after writing Phaedra, had fallen prey to qualms of conscience over what his enemies called the wicked incestuousness of that drama, went into an unproductive period of brooding piety, from which he was eventually roused by Madame de Maintenon, who commissioned him to write a play on a biblical subject. That devout morganatic wife of Louis XIV had founded the Saint Cyr Academy for Young Girls, a charitable and religious institution for the education of the daughters of impoverished noble families. She wanted a play suitable for the students to perform, and Esther was the result. Bernhardt revived it in a manner of its first production, with sets taken from 17th century prints and the incidental music originally composed for it by Moreau. De Max as Louis XIV and whoever impersonated Madame de Maintenon came on with a retinue of courtiers, took their places as spectators, and the play was performed before them. All the parts, even the male ones, were taken by young actresses, and at one side a group of small girls from a nearby orphanage made up a touching chorus. Sarah herself acted not the title role, but that of Ahasuerus, king of Persia, and she did so in the endearingly awkward manner of a schoolgirl trying her valiant best to give an authentic impression of a bearded potentate. The overall effect was charming, and the Esther matinees were repeated several times. In spite of these artistic triumphs, the Theater Sarah Bernhardt was by no means playing to capacity. The Paris public, that sacred monster, continued to blow hot and cold. To them she was still their Sarah, but they were beginning to take her for granted. At the same time, they resented her successes in foreign countries, overlooking the fact that those successes were redounding to their own country's credit. For years, they ignored her value as an ambassador, as an ambassadress. James Agate's sister May said only when her health was beginning to fail and they felt she was slipping from their grasp did they awaken to the fact that she had done more for France than all their diplomats put together. The public, for some inexplicable reason, especially resented her great London following. Ooh, hey. I just got a job, y'all. I don't care what it is. I'll do it. Why not? Hell yeah. Okay. I do care what it is. This is a labor one. I'm going to do a labor job. I'm 51. This is your bonus feature. The public, for some inexplicable reason, especially resented her great London following. The possessiveness the British felt about France's leading actress struck them as presumptuous. Notwithstanding the objections of her compatriots, Sarah Bernhardt went to perfidious Albion year after year and nearly always played to packed houses. When Madame Sarah came to town during the season, it was an event, like the pantomimes during the Christmas holidays. Her increasing age seemed to bother no one. In 1904, Max Beerbohm notes, "She is still lightly triumphant over time." There was an excitement about going to see her. Audiences arrived at the theater in states of anticipatory elation and waited breathlessly for the play to begin and the moment when the divine would make her entrance. The critic and essayist Arthur Symons said, "One's pulses beat feverishly before the curtain had risen. There was a kind of obscure sensation of peril, such as one feels when the lioness leaps into the cage." And yet not everyone continued to fall under the Bernhardt spell. Sarah by now had lost her excessive thinness. Due to an abdominal operation which had weakened her stomach muscles, she had developed a definite little paunch, which she did nothing to conceal, as she refused ever to wear a corset. Arnold Bennett complained in his journal as early as 1896. "This season she is positively obese, but most of the women in her company have waists even larger than hers. Query, is this an accident, or has she carefully engineered it?" Bennett, of course, like Shaw, was no Sarah and he was exaggerating preposterously. Sarah was thick in the middle, but her arms and upper torso retained the same willowy grace.